y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope, and I am here once again with an art journal page. This is another one of my 100-day projects, and I am using one of these old weekly time books. I've got a bunch of them that I got in an Ephemera haul. I don't even know, at a junk shop forever ago. I really looked up on them and just happened to have one close to my desk, and that's the one I decided I was going to use. And I am working in my soul food journal that is from a Tiffany Golf Smith Southern Gals Designs workshop. I'll try to remember to put a link below in the description box. So I am going to start this journal page like I do a lot of them, and that's with some collage. Since I am doing a full spread of 2 pages, those 2 pages aren't very cohesive, so I thought maybe putting down some collage down would help bring the two of them together. So you'll see this first piece I put down is going to bridge the two of them, and I'm going to continue with that kind of theme, pulling things from each side. So I'm just doing it with my Ohu glue stick, and I'm going to skip ahead here in a second, and you'll get to see kind of, the results of my collage, because I go back and forth with just some book pages, and I think I pull in some oh, what's that stuff? Scrapbook paper. I don't know why I have trouble with my words sometimes. I go on the microphone here and I lose it. So anyway, I'm getting my collage down, and I'm gonna skip ahead here, and I am taking some Deco Arts Media, what is that stuff? Gesso. Gracious words. And just a palette knife, and I am going to smear that all over. And again, this is kind of my effort to bring the 2 pages together. I like that they each have their own little feel to them, but I wanted a nice big spread for today for some reason. So I'm gonna make them be one with a little gesso and collage. So I do have those pages pinned down with just some clothespins, because that journal's getting a little full and won't stay open. So I use clothespins or clips or whatever like that to kind of help them stay full. But you'll see that sometimes they get in the way if I want to put some media down somewhere. So um, gotta put them back on, take them back off, whatever. Um, and then yeah, so I'm just making sure that that gesso kind of gets everywhere. And yeah, this page all in all works, but it's not exactly, I think, what I thought I was going to do with this. So that is a Bria Reese, I don't even know, I got it on clearance. It's like a fine liner, but with gold paint on it. I don't think I knew that it was a fine liner when I got it, but this is the first time I'm using it. You see, I kind of had to open it there, and I really kind of love it. So I'm thinking it's going to get used again here soon. So I'm trying to get it started, and I am just doing some scribbly, and I love the amount of like little touches of gold that this added to this page. But because I started it, um, there and didn't really know how it would work, I got a little too much in some spots, so I'm just using a piece of paper that's off the side to pick it up, and that's great because then I have that little bit of gold over on that piece of paper that'll probably get worked into something else another time. So I'm going to kind of pick up a couple of things, and I think I'm going to go ahead and dry the page real quick. Oh no, I've got what am I going to do? I grab a graphite pencil. That's a water soluble graphite pencil, and I'm just going to put some splatters down to darken this up a little bit. With all the gesso and the collage, it needed to be, I don't know, lifted a little bit. So then I'm looking in my little book, and I'm trying to decide what it is I'm going to use. Now, I was smitten with that little stamp thing down there because it was stamped exactly 50 years before I was born, and I thought that was kind of crazy. So I've got that put off to the side to use some other way, but the piece I ended up tearing out to use has got a rusty straight pen in it that I thought was kind of awesome. Something was probably pinned there at some point that had fallen out. And I've got a piece of a tea bag that I also am going to use. It's still got the string attached. So I kind of knew that I wanted to use those things to bring to make the focal, I think, for this piece. So I dried everything real quick before I got anything wet onto those little bits that I knew I wanted to use. And then I had a little piece of fabric that was there, and that's probably just the excess fabric that I cut off from my previous video. So that's getting brought in here. That's why, leaving a couple little things on my desk kind of works, because then you can kind of be like, oh, look, I can use this. So, and I pulled out the fluid matte medium to put that all down, because since I am using that tea bag, I still want to be able to like see through it a little. And so that helps with that, making it kind of, I don't know, more invisible. The fluid matte medium is great for thin materials. I think I mentioned that in my last video, that when you're using something thin like tissue or napkin or something like that, using something a little more fluid can kind of help make sure you don't tear those thin materials. So, and I'm going to use that because it is still a strong adhesive. I'm going to use that to glue that fabric down right there as well. And I put it there, and I'm going to fiddle with it for a minute and turn it. And I finally decide I want that pin portion up at the top where that straight pin is. So I kind of put it that way. And then I went and grabbed a couple things kind of off camera. I clipped that part out. And the first thing I'm going to put down is it's the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink in Van Dyke Brown. This is something I got on clearance forever ago, and yeah, so I started by trying to just spread it out with a paintbrush, just a wet paintbrush, and it wasn't really being fluid enough, so I grabbed a paper towel, what is that? It's a baby wipe to help kind of blend it out. And y'all, I really love how it kind of dyed the page a little bit, so I am kind of going crazy with it. Excuse the dog, I can hear her scrambling in the other room. She probably sees a lizard out the window. um, so so I moved that India ink kind of all over the page, and there were parts where I guess the gesso had gotten, or some of my glue had gotten or something, where it acted as a resist on there and was, well, really kind of cool. So, and then I've got two spray inks. Both of them are the Distress Spray. One is the tea dye Distress Spray, and the other is the Rusty Hinge. Now you see the tea dye, I just did one quick spray and kind of evened it out. I don't think I liked what it was doing. So I'm kind of moving around what's left on my baby wipe of that Bombay ink to kind of get that going. And then I'm going to take a Distress Spray in Rusty Hinge, which is one of my favorites. And I'm just using the inner tube thingy, I don't know what you call it, to spread the ink around, because I just want it in specific spots, and just kind of, I don't know, just kind of smears of it on the page. I didn't want it in a spray pattern. So I'm getting that down, and like I said, I just wanted a couple touches of it. I have that, that rusty straight pen on that piece of paper. So, and for a 100-day project, that's what I was supposed to use, was that weekly time page. So I don't know if I mentioned that or not. So that's why I'm making it my focal there, is to try to make sure I use it. So I'm going to dry everything here again real quick before I move on. And I've got one of the Tim Holtz Small Talk or Chit Chat, I always forget what they're called, stickers. And I think that one says the impossible is often the untried. So, and that's kind of a little bit what my 100-day project is about, is using the materials I have, trying them out, figuring out if I like using them, how I want to use them, and and so that's kind of resonated with me when I selected this sentiment. So because if you don't try it, yeah, it's impossible. So I went ahead and stuck that down on just below that rusty pen, and then I'm just using my Oohoo glue stick to glue down that. I'm trying to make sure I get plenty of glue on there, to glue down that whole little stack of stuff that I created, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the page, but it kind of blends in, but it's okay. I'm digging it. And I decided I wanted some more of those splatters. I wanted a little more darkness on the page, so I'm using that graphite water soluble graphite pencil thing again, just dipped in my water and splattering it around. Um, and that kind of turns out, you should be able to see it in the pictures at the end, but I really like how it pooled in some places, and that graphite, I don't know, just super yummy. So as I'm sitting there looking, I decide to pull out, I think, my Stabilo all pencil. No, I grabbed some tissue tape because I felt like I needed a little more text in there, a little, I don't know, I've got so much texture going in there, but for some reason I felt like I needed just a little something else in a couple spots to kind of make things a little more cohesive. And I like the tissue tape because it is transparent, and you can still kind of see what's going on in the background, so it doesn't cover up all of what's in there. It still gives you a little peek. So I'm just sticking a little bit of that down in a couple spaces, and then I've got that's my Stabilo all pencil in black that I'm going in that on that tissue tape, just to darken it up a smidge, to give it a little grunge so it doesn't stand out so much. So it kind of melt into the background just a little bit, and then I'm going to go around my sentiment with that same pencil. So I'm taking my time with that, and then when I get that done, I think that's going to be it for this page. I'm really happy that I used that timesheet thing, that I experimented a little bit more and played with a couple of things I hadn't touched. So I'm going to give you a couple pictures of how this ended up looking. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll have links to some of the products I use. Please know that I am trying out the Amazon affiliate program, so anything you click on, I might get some benefit from that. So keep that in mind. So anyway, make sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and come back some other time and see what I got going on. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.